This is Mrs. Smith making a quick video on how to know what number to divide by when you're simplifying fractions. So please follow along with your note sheet and do the notes that I'm doing. So we're going to start off with divide by 2. So looking in the top left, to figure out if you can divide by 2, you need to look at whether or not both numbers are even. So even numbers will end in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. So if we look at our example here, we have 18 and 22, both ending in an even number. So therefore we can divide by 2. Divide by 2. You can use your multiplication chart or you can use a calculator if you don't know your multiplication facts. 18 divided by 2 is 9. 22 divided by 2 is 11. 9 and 11 don't have any factors in common because this could be 3 times 3. This could be 11 times 1. They don't have any factors that they share that you could cancel out. So 11 and 9 have to stay the same, and that is simplest form. Next, we look at dividing by 5. So you look at, do both the numbers end in a 5 or a 0? So for this example, we have 35 ending in 5, 50 ending in 0. And then this other example, they both end in 5, so therefore they're both divisible by 5. So that means we can divide all of these by 5. Please make sure you are writing down the steps and not just an answer. These are notes. It's not a worksheet that you're just turning in an answer. So 35 divided by 5 is 7. 50 divided by 5 is 10. You could use a multiplication chart. And once again, we stop there because 7 can only be split into 7 times 1 because it's prime. 10 could be split into 5 times 2. But you'll notice they don't have any factors in common that can be simplified any further. So the simplest form is 7/10. Down here, 15 divided by 5 is 3. And then if you're not sure about that one and you don't have a calculator, you have to do a little long division. So you divide 5 into 65. Well, 5 can go into 6 once because 1 times 5 is 5, and it's smaller than the 6. We get 0, we bring the 5 down. Now we have 5 going into 15. Well, 3 times 5 is 15, and then we get to stop because we have nothing left. So therefore, 65 divided by 5 is 13. And once again, just to show you, we stop simplifying because these are both prime in this case. So therefore, they share no other factors in common, and we stop there. Next one is divide by 3. This one's probably the trickiest one, but it can be useful. So you add the numbers together, so the digits, and I'm going to show you what that means. And if the result is a 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, or 18, that means you'll be able to divide by 3. So for example, to check this one, we do 5 plus 7, which is 12. And you'll notice 12 is one of the numbers that means we can divide by 3. So think about what you do for this one, 63. To check it, you do 6 plus 3, which equals 9. And once again, you'll notice 9 is a number in the checklist. Now, that does not, okay, this does not equal 12 over 9. Okay, that is not how it works. But it means we can take 57 and 63 and we can divide by 3. It means they are divisible by 3. And this time around, I'm just going to use a calculator. So 57 divided by 3 is 19. And 63 divided by 3 is 21. 19 is prime and doesn't share any factors with 21, so we stop because that is simplest form. Last one for numbers in this little piece of paper here is divide by 10. And this one is the quickest one because if they both end in 0, which they definitely do, 70 and 90, that means we can divide by 10. And we'll get 7/9. And once again, 7 is 7 times 1. 9 could be split into 3 times 3. And you'll notice no factors in common, so it's simplest form. And then a shortcut on dividing by 10 is if they both have zeros, you can just cancel the zeros out, meaning dividing by 10, and then get 7/9. Now, the very last thing on this sheet says not sure, so it's not a rule for any number. It's just if you've tried the other things and you're still not sure, I recommend you look at a multiplication chart. So we're going to look at 28 and 49. So you take your multiplication chart, okay, in the back of your comp book, or if you have another one, and you're looking for 28 and 49 in the same column. So if we go here, we find 28, but there's no 49. So 4 times 7 is 28, and so then we look, does 28, oh, there it is, okay, and 49, are they in the same column? So 28 and 49 both have a factor of 7, meaning we can divide by 7. So on this last one, you have 28 divided by 7, 49 divided by 7, and then what do you get? Well, that will be 4 sevenths. And then we get to stop because, oops, I'm trying to hold the paper here. This one would be 2 times 2. Okay, there it is, 2 times 2. And this would be 7 times 1. A little tricky, I'm trying to hold my phone and the paper's moving around. So anyways, 2 times 2, 7 times 1, no factors in common. So therefore this is simplest form, and we are done. Now you should be on the back of your sheet, and you should try 1 through 6 on your own before continuing. So let's see how you did. Number 1, 51. So you should be looking at, it doesn't end in a 2, it doesn't end in a 5 or a 0. So you're checking to see if it's divisible by 3. So you're going to do 5 plus 1. That'll equal 6. And on our sheet from earlier, you look at divide by 3, 6 is one of the numbers that means you can divide by 3. So 51, if you divide by 3, it equals 17. So therefore the answer, it is divisible by 3. Well, 38, hopefully you noticed it ended in a 8. That means it is even, meaning you can divide by 2. And when you divide by 2, you would get 19. Didn't have to do this part, but just wanted to show you that you'll get a whole number when you divide by the factor. So number 3, hopefully you noticed it ends in a 5. And therefore, it is divisible by 5. And if you divide 95 by 5, you'll get 19. And then on number 4, it ends in a 0. So what'd you get for this one? Well, technically, it's divisible by 10 and 5. And if we were going to simplify something, we'd want to check to see what the other number ends in to see which of those two numbers we'd want to do. 121, so first of all, ends in a 1. So not even, can't divide by 5 or 10. If you add the numbers together, 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. 4 is not on the list of numbers to be divisible by 3. So it's not divisible by 3. So we checked, and it's not divisible by 3. Therefore, you got to use a multiplication chart. And if you don't know your multiplication facts, then you got to look for 121. And there it is. 121 is divisible by 11, because it is the same thing as 11 times 11. So you would divide by 11 on that one. And then 57 doesn't end in 2, 5, or 0. So we're going to do a check to see if it is divisible by 3. 5 plus 7 is 2. And if you check the list, yep, divide by 3. Therefore, it is divisible by 3. And if you divide by 3, just to see what you get, oops, 19. So divided by 3 is 19. Okay, please try number 7 next. So looking at both these numbers, so not even, don't end in an even number. One is divisible by 5, but the other is not. They have to both be divisible by the same thing. So you can't divide by 5. Don't both end in 0. So we got to check to see, I'll do it over here, are these divisible by 3? So I'm adding the numbers together. And if you look at our divide by 3 paper, both of those numbers, 6 and 3, are on there. So that means we can divide by 3. Now, if you know your multiplication facts, you don't necessarily have to check it, because you could go, oh, I know that 15 is 3 times 5, so that's 5. And 21 is the same thing as 3 times 7, so that's 7. and that's simplest form. Please try number 8. So these both end in a 4, which are both even, so we can divide by 2. And you can use your calculator, or you can, if you know $24 split between 2 people is $12, 27. Now we can't stop, because if you add these two numbers together, okay, the digits I should say, they are both divisible by 3, because 3 times 4 is 12 and 3 times 9 is 27. So therefore you have to keep going on this one. So because we had to go twice, that means there was a bigger number than 2 we could have divided by, and that bigger number is 6, because 24 divided by 6 is 4 and 54 divided by 6. So that would have been faster. But this is if you weren't aware that these two numbers share a 6 in common. Okay, please try number 9. So you'll notice these ones end at a 0 or a 5, meaning we can divide by 5. You cannot divide by 10 because this one doesn't end in 0. They have to both end in 0 to divide by 10. So we have 8 over 11. And these don't have any numbers in common that you can divide by, so that is simplest form. So, because they're not even, they don't both end in 5, and they're not divisible by 3. Okay, number 10, please try it if you haven't already. So you'll notice they're not even, they don't end in an even number, not ending in 5, not ending in 0. So we should check to see if these are divisible by 3. If they're not divisible by 3, you have to use a multiplication chart, but you'll notice that they both are 9, and 9 is a divisible number, or the number to check for dividing by 3. So therefore we can divide by 3. And if you use your calculator, you should get 21 over 27. Now on this one, once again, like number 8, these, if you add these numbers together, 2 plus 1, you get 3. 2 plus 7, you get 9. So those are both numbers and are divisible by 3. So that means we have to keep going on this one. You'll get 7 over 9. And that means because we had 2 steps, there was a bigger number that we could have divided by. So we have 63 over 81. If you use your multiplication chart and you find 63 and 81, they are both divisible by 9. So that's why we were able to divide, or we had to divide twice. So if we divide both of these by 9, 63 divided by 9 is 7, and 81 divided by 9 is 9. And that is how you simplify fractions.